was the remarks from President Joko Widodo while meeting with Anwar Ibrahim in Malaysia. Now, Indonesia and Malaysia have reaffirmed their commitment to further strengthening bilateral relations to achieve regional peace and stability for the benefits of the people.
The leaders of the two countries discussed several topics and agreed to solve some long-standing problems. And to know more about it, we are now connected with our Malaysian contributor, Basir Siswo, live from Kuala Lumpur. Basir, Indonesia and Malaysia discussed several topics on the bilateral meeting yesterday. Now, could you wrap up the result of the meeting?
Well, there are three major agreements, as you mentioned, that is critical during this visit. One is the long-standing maritime border dispute. Second one is the collaboration against discrimination on palm oil exports. As we are aware, Indonesia and Malaysia are the two top world producers of palm oil, and the concern raised recently is that the European Union has recently passed a law banning commodities linked to deforestation coming into Europe. And one of the commodities obviously mentioned is palm oil. And the third one is also very important, especially for Indonesia, the setting up of a framework to protect migrant workers against abusers and ill treatment. This is important for Indonesia because there is an estimated 2.7 million migrant workers, Indonesian migrant workers in Malaysia today. So that legal framework is going to be very critical and important.
All right. Is there Go ahead, Basir.
Sorry, what's interesting after the official talks and agreement signed, at about noon, President Jokowi has requested to visit two interesting places in Kuala Lumpur. I think this is quite unscheduled. One is the Chowkit area, the market. Number two, the Kampung Baru. A bit of background info about Chowkit. It's a very notorious area in the 60s and 70s. It was like drug-prone, crime-infested area. But it has been cleaned up the last 2 decades. And then the last 2 decades, I think, the whole area, quite a big, significant number of Indonesian migrant workers are living there and setting up business there. And hundreds of them turn up, actually, to welcome President Jokowi, accompanied by Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, to visit them. And that is quite remarkable.
Yeah. Well, Basir, I mean, in Indonesia... In Indonesia, we saw how so many times President Joko Widodo did belusukan, or going down...
This particular activity, we call it here locally belusukan.
That's right, belusukan, going to the markets, going to places where perhaps for presidents or somebody who's that level would not do that often. But under the presidency of President Joko Widodo and also in Malaysia, Anwar Ibrahim, they seem like building the bond like brotherhood.
Like brothers,
Yeah, like brothers. So how do you think this will impact the two countries' relations in the future?
Obviously, Indonesia is very important to Malaysia, which is why Indonesia became Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim's first official visit when he became Prime Minister in early January. He first came to Indonesia before any other country. So that signifies how important the partnership between Malaysia and Indonesia. Interestingly, I'd like to say, after President Jokowi and Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim went to Chowkit, they went to Kampung Baru. Kampung Baru is another interesting area because it used to be a very stronghold Malay enclave right in the middle of the city. It's quite near to the Tin Tower, in fact. And you still see villages, kampung houses in wooden stilts there.
Right.
And interestingly, there's also quite a big number of Indonesian migrant workers living and doing business there. At least I think there are 3 nasi padang restaurants there, really good ones.
Wow.
And people who want to eat good nasi padang, the original, authentic from Sumatra, they have to go to Kampung Baru. I think that's one of the main attractions why President Jokowi went to Kampung Baru.
Well, I'm sure it's a nice venue for political talks between the two leaders while eating Padang food.
In the words of Minang people, because my maternal family is from Minang, you do not hold any meeting before you feel full.
There you go.
So you have to eat first before you held a meeting.
Well, anyway, thank you so much, Bashir, for your report from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. We'll be looking forward for another report. Thank you so much.